Do I still believe that Kadena's native cryptocurrency called KDA could hypothetically go to the price of $25 during this bull run? Yes, and even though that's not financial advice nor a guarantee, people, they may have a hard time believing this because for whatever reason, people often think that Kadena is bad, but I disagree. And why do some people think it's bad? It's because their main argument is typically that the programming language used in Kadena smart contracts, aka PACT, it's spelled P-A-C-T, but besides that point, they say that this is difficult. They say that it's very hard to understand, allegedly, right? And also they say that, yeah, this makes it very unsustainable for the future of Kadena. They say, oh, wow, look at the developers. They quite essentially say that, oh, these programmers, these developers, they're not going to know how to fully utilize PACT. However, when it comes to this argument, I'm going to debunk this, and I think it's quite frankly a very bad argument because first of all, they're saying that this is difficult for developers. While for a developer, it's their job to quite essentially learn and understand programming languages. So that doesn't make sense. That's like going to LeBron James and saying that, oh yeah, we get how shooting three-pointers is difficult, so you probably shouldn't do that, just sit on the bench. It's like, what? What is that all about? He's paid to be an NBA player. You take a look at these developers, they're most likely, that's their occupation. So why would they find it difficult? Doesn't make any sense. A decent developer with decent training, they should be able to pick this up very quickly. So that's a very bad argument in my opinion. Doesn't make any sense. That's like telling an NBA player again, right, that playing basketball is hard. It's like, yeah, that's their occupation. So why are they saying it's hard for them? Of course, it's their job. They're supposed to try to be good at it. And also on top of that, why would they not choose Kadena? Because even if, let's say, it's allegedly difficult, let's say that is the case, right? Why would someone choose Ethereum over Kadena, for instance? Because if, let's say, I'm a programmer, developer, whatever the case may be, I'm of course going to be choosing something like Kadena because even if allegedly PACT is more difficult to understand, I would much rather go through that as opposed to build on Ethereum, which allegedly might be easier, but then I'm going to have to deal with a lot of the nonsense. Now, what is that nonsense, right? You take a look at Ethereum, sky-high gas fees. It's arguably not even scalable. So even if things are easier, why would I want to deal with that? Doesn't make any sense. I would much rather choose something like Kadena, very scalable, doesn't suffer from gas fee nonsense. It's highly decentralized, it's secure. So it's really a no-brainer pick for me, even if, let's say, PACT is more difficult. I'm still choosing that, but I still do believe that for a decent or average even programmer, PACT is not going to be difficult. So anyway, take a look at it. That argument that PACT is difficult and Kadena can't prosper as a result of that, I quite frankly think it's a very bad argument, and I completely disagree with it. I think Kadena is one of the best layer 1 blockchains out there, and I don't think this is an issue at all. Now, with that being said, though, some people, they may argue, but yeah, Kadena isn't the biggest. But isn't that the point? My goal isn't to FOMO into something like BNB right now. It's not to FOMO into something like Ethereum as we speak. Why would I do that? I would much rather choose something that's still relatively up and coming, still somewhat under the radar, much like, for instance, Kadena. For me, the key is to get in Ethereum like years ago. It's not to get in right now. That doesn't make any sense for me. I'm going to want to choose the next big thing, so to speak, and I think that's Kadena because I think fundamentally it's fantastic. And also on top of that, I don't think that PACT is difficult at all. At least that's just the way I view it. You also have to take a look at Kadena. Its team is A+. For instance, a member of their advisory team is actually the co-inventor of blockchain. And I'm not joking, by the way. You take a look at Dr. Stuart Haber. He's a part of the Kadena team. That's how amazing it is. He's not going to attach himself to something that he thinks is bad. That's not the case, right? You take a look at just how amazing of an individual Dr. Stuart Haber is. His resume speaks for itself. So the fact that he's part of the Kadena team, that says something in my opinion. Also on top of that, you take a look at the founders of Kadena, two individuals, Will Martino and Stuart Popejoy. You take a look at how they both actually helped build JP Morgan's first ever blockchain, now otherwise known as JPM Coin. So man, their experience is A+. You combine that as well with Dr. Stuart Haber, the co-inventor of blockchain. This right here is a recipe for success because, as the old saying goes, the fish rots from the head down. Leadership is very important. And when it comes to Kadena, that's what we have right here, amazing leadership. If a project is great, but the leadership is bad, it's going to have a very bad direction moving forward, in my opinion. But even if, let's say, a project is decent, may not have the best fundamentals, but the leadership is A+, I still think that over time, it's going to be able to defeat a fundamentally better project with bad leadership. So when it comes to Kadena, is it the best out there? That's a stretch, but in my opinion, its leadership is A+, its fundamentals are A+, so I think that it really does beat a lot of the competition. Man, I think Kadena is just one of the best. Now, on the Kadena ecosystem, it's heading in a positive direction, though, even though it may not be the biggest. There's currently over 50 projects, which is very impressive given, the status of Kadena not being that mainstream yet. And also on top of that, you take a look at how it has over 8 major partnerships. That's very impressive. So when it comes to Kadena, again, it's not the biggest out there, but it's heading in such an amazing direction, in my opinion. Sometimes people take a look at where it is right now, but they don't take a look at the trajectory in which it could be moving forward. And that's what I do. I take a look at where it could be years down the line, not what it could do, next 2 weeks. It's like, who cares about that, man? That's too short of a timeline to judge something by, especially a project, in this case, like Kadena. And you have to take this into consideration. KDA at the price of $25 isn't crazy. At that point, market cap would be around $7 billion. Now, this is over a 50x from here. And again, this is considering current circulating supply. But this really is so small in the grand scheme of things. You take a look at, for instance, BNB at one point reached over $100 billion in market cap. And is it better than this? I don't think so. And also, you take a look at Ethereum. At one point, it reached over $550 billion in market cap. So around a $7 billion market cap, it's not crazy at all. This is so small in the grand scheme of things. And even if you take a look back in history, just last year, slightly over 2% of the crypto hacks that happened, according to Crypto.com research, actually occurred on the BNB Smart Chain ecosystem. So that's a no bueno. Of course, that's not good. Now, slightly over 2% may not seem that bad, but you take a look at just how massive the crypto space is overall. This is very unacceptable in my opinion. So again, if BNB can go to over $100 billion in market cap, why can't KDA at least go to around 7? That's like so small in the grand scheme of things again. Now, this bull run could be so insane though. Currently over 500 million crypto owners according to Crypto.com research. So you could only imagine, right, the potential FOMO and buying pressure as a result of that. Also on top of that, you take a look at how Bitcoin, it could very well have such a bright future ahead. You take a look at the Bitcoin ETF. You take a look at the number of institutional investors it has. Really, I think the sky's the limit for Bitcoin during this bull run. I think it could hypothetically go to the price of $150,000. And I think if that were to happen, you could only imagine the altcoin season then. It's going to be insane. So I think it's far from over. And even historically, we can tell that this is actually far from over. Now, again, this is based off of history, but I've taken a look at history and I understand this because usually altcoins, they peak anywhere between 6 to 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, the Bitcoin halving event happened back in April. So 6 months, October this year, 18 months, October next year. That's still plenty of time. Now, is it bad? Well, to the short-term thinkers, maybe, but to me, it's not bad because this actually suits my strategy. I'm dollar cost averaging. So anytime I earn income, I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting. That's it. I'm not day trading. I'm not using leverage. I'm not swing trading. When it comes to any cryptocurrency that I own, that's just not my style. That's not my vibe. I don't like to think about things in the short term. Once I believe in something, I take a look at it in a long-term approach, which is why, again, I'm dollar cost averaging. It's king for me. And $25 for KDA wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think it's that fantastic, and I think it's that amazing. And I think this bull run could be that legendary. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.